But anyway, man, we moved out to Seattle in '62. My father, he got tired of getting laid off from Dodge, Maine, and my mother and father moved us, the four of us, out to Seattle. And we lived off of 32nd and Dearborn. That's how I got to go to Leschi.
Yeah.
But first I went to Bailey Gassert.
My 3 younger siblings all went to Bailey Gassert.
Man, you're killing me, man. This is okay. This is not a coincidence. Okay. But yeah, went to Bailey Gassert when we first got there. I turned 8 that October. We got there September the 23rd or something like that. And remember that number because that's when I came to Western. It was the 23rd of September. So that the numerology or whatever. But I turned 8 that October, and my mother. We were staying with my uncle, and she says we got to find a house. And that Christmas, we was in another house. We was on 32nd and Dearborn.
Wow.
Looking at Mount Rainier and the floating bridge, which you didn't get that kind of view or whatever. People, because we go to church. My uncle, who was a bishop, he go, how you get a house like that? And I start peeking it in. I was like, man, that ain't the attitude you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
But my mother, she moved, and my father, they moved like that. She goes, if I'm going to move out here, she said, I got to see either some mountains or some water.
Wow.
So, man, be careful what you say because, your words have power.
It might just come true.
Yeah. Be careful.
You guys moved, you said you moved in 62. So I know 62, and I remember this because I was just at the Space Needle because I had family come over. The same year as the World Fair, as well as... the 60s was a tumultuous time for black people.
Yes.
Describe Seattle and the atmosphere and back in the 60s.
Seattle was very proactive. We were trying to come together, like the busing situation. It was mandatory busing. The rest of the country was kind of like having a problem with it. But in Seattle, we were trying to work together, blacks and whites or whatever, within that system to have voluntary busing. And I think it's about, because I bussed out to junior high Woodrow Wilson out by Northgate, my 9th grade. But before that, the voluntary busing thing was in vogue, and we had people like Reverend Samuel McKinney. He was big in the civil rights. He had Martin Luther King come out. I've seen him in real time, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and
how was that?
I'm talking when I seen them in real time.
It was like in passing.
It was on TV, and we was watching them because they're Baptist ministers, and so Reverend McKinney had him come out for a fundraiser. So he came out, and but at this time, man, we moved to a predominantly white neighborhood. This was in '64, and it was us, the professional boxer Eddie Cotton, for you old heads out there or you boxing fans, you look that up. And we lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, and across the street from us was the 37th district representative. He was a politician and stuff. And there were some things, his wife, when we moved there and stuff, there were some things. But long story short, we all came together and we all played together. But as the 60s moved on, things got real. Things revved up. You just go back in your history or archives, and you'll see like the Black Panthers start up.
Yeah.
And the Dixon brothers, Aaron and Elmer Dixon, they formed the Seattle chapter of the Black Panthers. And I was like 12 and 13 then, and it was a time of, I don't want to say, it wasn't the indoctrination, but information, because you had Huey P. and Bobby Seals and those guys. And even as a young lad, 13, picking up like, why you call the police pigs? And they would, because a lot of this stuff, police brutality and stuff, we was kind of like, we was in a nice neighborhood or whatever. But as we found out, man, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And for instance, you would see brothers, man, older brothers, and then you wonder where they went. And so the word on the street was, oh man, they went to New York or Chicago. And later on, when I was in high school, I was in theater, and we went to do a show in Monroe Penitentiary.
Right.
I go, man, there's
that person.
Yeah, man. dude's got his arm. Man, this dude used to be he used to be a tough guy. This guy's locked up. You know, I'm junior in high school and I'm seeing this, and like so, you got an understanding of the whole school to prison thing, and where guys walking on didn't get jobs, and you see like people that you knew didn't have really that kind of potential or whatever, just getting these jobs and flourishing and doing that thing, where I knew people that had that aptitude or whatever, but there was next thing you know, we resort to crime.
Yeah.
And you looked up to these people, man. I'm gonna name certain people because some of them are gone now, but we looked up to the people on the corner and stuff, and for whatever reason, a lot of people ended up like that, and without taking.
So how did you, I guess, manage? Because you come from a good family, middle class family, good neighborhood. But you obviously, when you go to school, it's all kinds of people coming in from different classes.
Yeah.
How were you able to, I guess, maneuver and make sure to watch the crowd you were hanging out with?
Well, it's funny, man. Really, Seattle at that time, we was all about that education and stuff. Like, it's wild now. I mean, even your turn. What you guys is doing, if somebody brought a knife to school, that was a big deal. You had people that you kind of knew they were into this over here, but you were getting this thing from home that you got to get this education, if quote unquote you need to go to school so you can get a good job. That was hammered on you. And so when there would be a certain element in the school or whatever, you might hang because you thought it was cool, but you knew that you had to do a certain thing. You might dabble, let's say it like that. You might dabble in some things, but you had to make sure you got your grades up.
Right.
Like I'd always planned to go to college. It's funny, I'm running with people, and I'm telling them I'm getting ready to go to college. You going to college, really? Man, I know that. I think I'll go too. I thought that's what you were going to do, But anyway, you would dabble and stuff, but at the time people were going to church, even if it was for Sunday school. You were going to church. You were raised, man, like T.K. Kirkland. Say, man, who raised you? You got a lot of that going on now. Like, why are you acting out? Where's your home training? Well, we got it. Even the so-called bad kids or whatever. It was a different time then, man. We respected, to a degree, you did respect people in your community. I was just thinking of certain stores or whatever, because even then, we had people in our community that, is taking it out and not giving it back. But, and they would get done up from time to time. But for the most part, we were very respectful. We were very, very good citizens. I miss that.
Yeah.
I go to Seattle now, and it's like it's not even my
Feels
vibe.
different.
Oh man, just know how old I am, if that's a thing.
What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning into that video. Make sure to click that subscribe button down below, as well as that bell to get notified on every new video and short coming in the future. And check out the description down below to get links to my podcast that is now featured on both Apple Podcasts, Spotify, this YouTube channel, and my Instagram down below. And as always, until next time, guys, peace.